today we're going to be focusing on our spine a little bit. I know that some people, even me, even hearing the word spine can be a little bit weird. Our spines are very delicate, but they're also very strong. They're very important in the sense that they are what connects our brain to the rest of our body. So they are what holds the source of all our nerves. Our spine needs to work and needs to be healthy basically for the rest of our body to be healthy. So don't think it's just going to be a class full of back bends and we're going to be making the spine move in ways it doesn't want to move. We won't be doing that at all. A lot of the cues I'll be using in class will be about, length in here, and will be more kind of focused on what our back is doing. But like I said, if there's anything you're not sure about, just unmute yourself and give me a shout. So we're going to be working through, there's 5 kind of key movements that our spine does. So we're going to be working through those movements throughout the class. So hopefully at the end of class, your spine will feel maybe a little bit longer, a little bit lighter. So we'll get started on just a really nice supported twist. So just grab your block and come to lie on your back. And you're just going to place your feet on the ground just so that they're hip width distance. Should be able to just about tickle your heels. And then we're going to drop both our knees over to the right hand side. We're just going to bring a block under our right knee. So our left knee will be hovering. If this is too much for your left hip at the minute, you're welcome to just bring your left knee on top of your right knee. So in yoga, people think you just go into the poses and then that's you sorted. There's always that little bit of fidgeting that needs to happen. So because we're going to be holding this for a couple of moments, it's important that you get yourself nice and comfortable. So just starting to add a little tiny twist into our lower back here. Trying to open up the hips a touch. And just letting your breath just slow down a bit. If you want to take a couple of sighs to exhale out maybe anything that came up for you this morning, you're welcome to. Just let your body get heavy and just let the weight of your body and the weight of gravity sink into the mat. If you want to start maybe a breathing technique, you're welcome to. So I'm just going to cue just box breathing. So this idea of the inhale for 4, hold it for 4, and then exhale for 4. So inhale for 4, hold it for 4, and exhale for 4. You're welcome to keep that breath with you. By doing pranayama techniques, it just allows us to just tap into our breath, bring some consciousness to it. And then we're just going to switch it up. So we're just going to bring our knees through the center, maybe bring our hips back to the middle of the mat, and then drop our knees over, this time to the left hand side, bringing the block to the outer edge of your left knee. So we're just coming into a smaller variation of this twist. And then just coming back to our breathing technique. So as I said at the start of class, our spine is able to move in 5 different ways. So when you think of other areas of your body, such as your knee joint, for example, your knee joint can only move forward and back. It's like a hinge. But our spine, because it's made up of all these tiny muscles, ligaments, all our vertebrae, it's able to move in these 5 different directions. Because of the amount of movement it has, it then allows our whole body to be able to move. So we're going to look at those 5 different movements. So this movement that we're doing now, we're doing a twist. So we're able to twist our spine. We always want to go within its limits. one more round of breath here. And then exhale, just bringing your knees back through the center, just keeping your block kind of to the top left hand corner of your mat, just hugging your knees in towards your chest and curling your head up. So rounding through our back. And then we're going to rock and roll and just roll over our ankles. It just comes that both our legs are out in front of us. Toes are going to point up towards the ceiling. Picking up your right leg, bringing your pinky side of your right toe to the outside of your left leg. We're going to bring our hands into heart center or prayer shape. And what we're going to do is we're going to inhale to lift everything out of the hips. So as if someone was pulling your head with a string, making our spine nice and long. So this is axial extension through the spine, so lengthening it up. And then on exhale, we're going to twist out to the right, just so we can touch our right knee with our left elbow. We're not going to force into this twist. We're just going to sit here like this, so just as a support. Keep grounding down through both hips and pulling your low tummy up. So when we go into any twist, we want to get this idea of our spine lengthening out and then twisting into it, pulling our low tummy up, keeping our chest nice and broad. Taking one more breath here, then exhaling through the center and then just swapping up. So left baby toe outside our right foot, hands to heart center, grounding down through your hip, lengthening up, and then exhale, twisting to the left, just placing our right elbow onto our left knee. So when we twist, so like we just twist to the left, we don't want to think about the twist coming from our shoulder. We want to think about it coming from our sternum. So we're twisting from our sternum out to left. We think that we're twisting from our shoulder, then it becomes more of a chest open. We want to keep our back nice and stable here. And sending those collarbones down, away from your neck, and away from each other. One more breath, and then exhaling through the center, just rolling over your ankles, and then coming onto all fours. We're going to come into a couple of cat-cows. I love a good cat-cow. So on an inhale, dropping your belly down, your tailbone's going to come up, lifting your gaze. Into cow. Making sure your toes are untucked here. Exhale, pushing the ground away, rounding through the spine. Inhale, dropping the belly down, scooping the chest forward. And then pushing the ground away. It's going between extending and flexing through the back. One more time. Really slowly so you can feel all those vertebrae moving into the posture and then pushing the ground away, rounding your tailbone under, and then coming to stillness. And then we're going to come into a pose, well, a movement called disco cat. I don't name it. So you're going to imagine that you can draw circles with your tailbone. So your hips are going to be almost like drawing a circle. This is working into our lower spine here. And you'll feel the weight shift between your hands and between your knees. So your tailbone tucks under, it goes over to the left, it comes out, goes over to the right, and then tucks under. And then you can change direction. Just getting more into our lower spine here. And then coming through the stillness and just keeping your hips directly above your knees. We're just going to walk our hands forward, coming into a melting heart pose and bringing your hands at least mat width apart, hands to 10 and 2, and then just bringing your forehead down towards the mat, letting your heart melt down. And breathing into our front body here, so ballooning those lungs out. Allowing gravity to just melt us down. Keeping our hips nice and high. And just picking up your gaze, we're just going to walk both our hands over to the left hand side and then just place them back down. So we're moving our spine in a lateral way, so from side to side. breathing into our right side body here, keeping our hips nice and high, grounding down through both knees. And then inhaling, coming back up and walking your hand over to the right hand side, and then on exhale, settling back down. Feeling the stretch all along our left side body. And keep setting that left hip back as you reach that left hand forward. Tiny subtle movements, but they make such a difference. And then inhale to come back through onto your all fours, and just picking up your back feet and just walking to the front of your mat, coming into a forward fold. So our hips are going to be, our feet are going to be hip width distance apart here. Melting our chest down to our knees, big deep bend in the legs here. So the focus here is to find length through the back, not necessarily length through the back of the legs. And you can place your hands just to the back of your skull, interlaced here. Just adding a little bit more weight. And think about sending that tailbone away from your neck, so you can lengthen everything. And then keeping your hands where they are, we're just going to slowly start to push into the legs. And as we push into the legs, our torso becomes light and we ragdoll slowly up, keeping that deep bend in your legs. Having our back flexed forward, rolling all the way up, chin to your chest, and then once you get all the way up, rolling it forward. So I'm going to stand right here so you can see me. Keeping your feet really grounded into the earth, we're just going to reach our hands up all the way overhead. Your pinkies are going to spin in, and you're going to think about pushing into the ground, and as you push into the ground, your tailbone is going to tuck under. You're going to reach your hands up, and you're going to, as if you could stretch as high as you possibly can, keeping your tummy tucked in. And then on exhale, bringing your left hand forward, right hand back. We're just going to come into a small twist here, keeping both hips forward, then inhaling up through the center, and exhale, twisting out towards the left hand side, right hand comes forward. Inhaling through the center, keep that big lift, and then you're going to bring your hands, I'm just going to come down so you can see it, you're going to clasp your fingers together, your index finger is going to come out, so it's almost like a little water pistol with your hand here. So you're going to bring your hands directly over your head with that water pistol, your ears are going to be inside your bicep, grounding down through your left foot, reach out through your hands, then exhale, bending over to the right hand side, getting that nice side stretch. Keeping your hips nice and center, then inhaling through, and then exhale. If you need to re-reach, you can, and then over to the left. And then inhaling through the center. And then keeping your hands in this position, you're going to lift your gaze so you can look up towards your hands. And as if your fingers were a pencil, you're going to draw a nice arc. So just reaching up and then coming into a slight back bend. Inhale through the center and exhale to forward fold all the way down to your mat. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale, stepping your feet back into your plank. So really strong pose here. So pushing the ground away, pushing your heels away. So that idea we had when we were standing of making ourselves as long as possible while keeping our tailbone tucked in. The front body starts to switch on. Just staying here for a couple of breaths. Generating some heat in the body. And then if you want, drop into your knees, inhale, shifting your weight forward, and exhale, lowering all the way down to the mat, untucking your toes, up to your cobra, squeezing your elbows in, and exhale, pushing back to your all fours, and back to your downward facing dog. So I want you to think about that length you created through your body when you were standing, keeping that with you in your down dog, so sending your heels away from you, keeping a nice bend in your legs. Your heels do not need to touch the earth. Your hips are going to lift away from your shoulders. You're going to slowly start to feel some length. Inhale, lift your left leg up behind you. And again, it is an extension of your body, so pushing that heel away. Then exhale, crunching your left knee in towards your chest. And then placing your left knee onto the mat, dropping your right foot down, lifting up into our low lunge. So keeping those ribs tucked in, really strong through the legs. Imagine you could pull your left leg back towards you and it'll switch it on. Inhale here and exhale. Right hand's just going to come beside your left foot here, and we're going to peel our heart open to the left hand side. Pushing into our right arm so we're strong, like our arms are one big long line. And then inhale, keeping your arms exactly in this position, twisting out towards the left. Then bring your hands into that prayer shape and then hooking your right elbow to the left knee. So that length you created in that open twist, keeping it with you. And when we come into twists like this, when we're on we're using our knee almost as a lever, making sure that you're not dumping your weight onto that leg. One more breath. And then exhale, coming through the center, reaching your hands again into that little water pistol shape up above your head. So your biceps are in line with your ears. Pushing out through your hands, and then exhale, just coming into that back bend again. And then reaching forward. This time we're going to bring it right in front of our face. Tucking our back toe and picking up. We're coming into a high crescent lunge, and our torso is in this 45-degree angle. So your body should be super long along your right hand side. Bring your hands into heart center. You're going to pop your right foot just in a little bit, and then leaning our weight into our left foot, picking up our right foot, just coming into a warrior 3 here. Just keep sending your hips away from your head. Broadening through your chest. And then exhale to forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift, nice flat back here. And exhale to forward fold, stepping back into your plank. Inhale, shoulders over your wrists, and exhale, lowering all the way down to the mat. Untucking your toes. We're going to come into an exalted cobra, so your hands are going to come off the mat, fingers are going to face forward, elbows up towards the sky, hands in line with your shoulders. Inhale, roll your chin and your chest forward, pushing into that, grounding your feet down. And exhale to come down. One more, inhale to come up. Then you're going to bend deeply into your left arm so your right shoulder comes down to the mat. Staying here for a few breaths. Keep grinding down your legs. Inhale through the center and exhale. Deep bend in the right elbow, Getting a nice opening through the front. Inhaling, back up, and exhale, lowering all the way down, tucking your hands underneath your shoulders, tucking your toes, picking up your knees, or you can come onto your knees if you wish, pushing up to your all fours, and back to your downward facing dog. Keeping that length. Taking a couple of breaths here. Inhale, sweep your right leg up behind you. And exhale, crunching in, really rounding through the spine, tucking your chin in towards your chest, lifting that knee really high, and then placing it in between your hands. Very good. Drop to your back foot. And inhale to rise into your low lunge. Just squeezing that outer hips in, lifting your torso out of your pelvis. And then exhale, left hand's just going to come beside your right foot. We're going to peel our heart open to the right hand side. And as we do that, we have a tendency to our right hip kind of to relax here. So keeping that nice and strong, tailbones tucked. And then creating that really long from your left wrist all the way out to your right fingertips here. And then lifting it up with keeping the twist. Bringing your hands through to prayer and then placing our left elbow to our right knee. When you're in this position, just imagining that your ribs are twisting around your center of gravity in the middle of your body. We're twisting from our sternum, keeping those strong legs. Inhaling here and exhaling, coming back through into our low lunge and then reaching our hands. This time we're not going to bring our hands together, we're going to keep them apart. Pinky fingers spiral in, reaching up, and then exhale, just coming into that small back bend. It's important we find the length and then we back bend into it. And then picking up your back knee, coming into your high crescent lunge here, reaching forward, so we're at a 45-degree angle here, long to our left side. And then just popping our left foot just in a wee touch, and then reaching forward, coming into our warrior three. To our balance, so really strong through that right leg. If you want to bring your hands behind you, you can. Some people find their balance a bit better in it. Making sure that left leg isn't flaying out towards the left. And then exhale, bring your left foot down to the mat and keeping that nice flat back, coming into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, stepping back to your plank. Welcome to drop to your knees at any point. Inhale, shoulders over your wrists. Exhale, lowering all the way down. Untucking your toes, and we're just going to come into a Sphinx pose. So elbows directly underneath your shoulders. Feet can be slightly wider here. And think about pulling your collarbones away from one another, broadening through your chest. Taking some breaths. Feeling your back body contract as your front body starts to open. Extending through your spine. And then exhale. Coming all the way down to the mat. If you want to make a little pillow with your hands, just place your head, on your hands. Just to feel that out. And then bringing your hands back underneath your shoulders, tucking your toes, coming up through all fours or plank, and then back to your downward facing dog. Now just making sure your block is to your left hand side and you're able to grab it. You just need it for the next flow. So just to get a little bit of strength into the top of our back, you're going to lower onto your right forearm and then lower onto your left forearm. So the exact same arm placement that we just had in Sphinx, but with a downward facing dog legs. This is dolphin pose. You might want to walk your feet in a little tiny bit. So really pushing the mat away, so you're puffing out that space between your shoulder blades, pulling your tummy up. On an inhale, we're going to lift our left leg directly up behind us. So super strong in the back body, and then lower it down and inhale, lift our right leg up behind us. And exhale, lower it down. Keeping that length, we're going to walk our feet back out, so we're coming into a forearm plank. So lifting with our hips. And please don't hate me. You're going to replace where your left elbow is sitting with your left hand. And then the same on the other side on your right hand side. There we go, up to our high plank. Really strong, guys. Inhale, shoulders over your wrists. Exhale, lowering all the way down to the mat. Untucking your toes. Squeezing through the back body, coming into your cobra. Or up dog, and then exhale, pushing back into our downward facing dog. So getting that heat on the go. Inhale, sweep that left leg up behind you, and exhale, bring your left foot To meet your hands, back foot's to 45, rising up to our warrior one. So making your feet as wide as you need to in order to find space for your hips in this pose. Deep bend in that front leg. And pushing into that back foot as much as you're pushing into that front foot. And just bringing your hands onto your hips. And that idea of your hips squaring off in this pose. Tailbone still tucked. Inhale to sweep the arms up into your warrior one. And keeping your side to your waist nice and long in this pose. Taking a couple of breaths. And then pushing into your front foot so much that it starts to straighten. Keeping that length through the spine, hinging at the hips, folding over that front foot. And if you want to grab your block to place it behind your thighs, you can. So our back foot's still in that 45 degrees. We're folding over our front leg. Reaching our hips behind us, our head forward. One more breath here. And then rebending into that front leg, coming back up into our warrior one. Just rebending to help us get back up. Then we're going to straighten it again. We're going to reach our right hand forward. Left hand's just going to come to our hip. And we're going to reach all the way forward. And then bringing our right hand to the pinky side of our left foot. So you'll probably need your block here in order to reach this. We're coming into a twisted Trikonasana here. If this does anything to your right knee, you're welcome to just pick up onto your toes. So just finding your balance here. And then on exhale, we're starting to twist out to the left hand side. And then you can pick your left hand up off your hip. And keeping that breath with you. Think about all those actions we did in our twist. A nice long spine. Pulling our tummy up. One more breath. And then exhale, rebending into that front foot. And then picking up onto the toes of the back foot, coming into our high crescent lunge. Bring our hands back into that little Kali Mudra, so our little water pistol, hands above our head. Squeezing our outer hips in, reaching out of our hips. And then exhale, once you find the length, just coming into a small back bend. The back bending from behind the heart. And then inhaling through the center, keeping that length with you, coming forward to 45 degrees. Hands are coming through the heart center, and we're twisting to the left, hooking our right elbow. Keep pushing out to that back leg, finding a super strong base so you can twist into this. And then we're going to transition here from a twisted high crescent lunge into a twisted chair. So you can take as many hops as you want, but a little trick is just turn your gaze down to your left big toe, ground into your left foot, shift your weight into your left foot, and then bring your right foot to the front to meet it, coming into your twisted chair. So tailbone's under, hips are down and back. Keeping your tummy up. And then exhale to forward fold out of that. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. And inhale to ragdoll up. So deep curve in the spine, slowly coming up, pushing into the ground with your feet. Chin on your chest until you get to the top, and then just rolling your shoulders down. And then pushing into your right foot so much that our left leg is going to rise, bringing our left knee in line with our left hip. Hand on your hip, right hand to the outside of our left knee. Ooh, I'm a little bit wobbly. Reaching out through our pelvis, and then exhale. Just starting to slowly twist out towards the left. Squeezing those outer hips in. If you want, you can lift that left hand behind you. Just coming into a standing twist. Keep reaching out to the crown. Taking one more breath here. Then exhale, coming through the center and coming into your forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale. exhale, stepping back into your downward facing dog, and then bringing your knees nice and wide, just coming to rest in a child's pose. So letting your hips become really heavy as they sink down onto your feet, and then walking your hands even further forward. Just taking some breaths here and rest. If you've lost your breath a little bit, just bringing it back to that rhythm that you created at the start of practice. And then when you're ready, just slowly making your way back to your downward facing dog. So coming onto your all fours, maybe puffing up the space between your shoulder blades, tucking your toes, sinking your hips back, and then picking up your knees into your down dog. Feeling your spine lengthen away from your hips. Keep making sure your shoulders aren't up in your ears. Inhale, sweeping that right leg up behind you. And exhale, bringing that right knee in towards your chest, placing your right foot to the top of your mat, back foot to 45, rising up into a warrior one on the other side. So if you want to, you can straighten out your right leg, ground down really heavy into your left foot, keep that grounding action, and then re-bend. So just a subtle change in this, the shift of weight, but it just really allows us to tap into that baby toe of our left foot. Just taking a couple of breaths in our warrior one here. Trying to get that scissoring action with our legs. Sorry, I should have said, making sure your block is on your right hand side. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then pushing into that front leg so it starts to straighten, reaching out through our hips, and then hinging forward, coming into our pyramid pose. So back foot's going to stay at 45 degrees. If it does feel anything on your knee, you're welcome to pick up your onto the balls of your back foot. Keeping your head nice and heavy here. And then just making sure that your block is just to the outside of your right leg. Re-bending, coming back into our warrior one. Reaching our left hand forward, our right hand's going to come to our hip. Straightening out that front leg again. Reaching our left hand forward as it can go, and then bringing our left hand to that block, which should be at our pinky toe of our right foot. Just finding the stability here before we twist. So making sure you're nice and strong through your legs, keeping that right hand on your hip, and then leading with your sternum, opening your chest out to the right hand side. Again, if you need to pick up that back foot, that's fine. And then keeping your hand on your hip or lifting your right hand up. So we did our low lunge twist and our arms were stacked. That same idea, energetically pushing down with your left hand, reaching out to your right. Our twisted Trikonasana. Taking one more breath here, then exhale, re-bending, coming back into our warrior one, then picking up our back foot, coming into our high crescent lunge. So I want you to walk your feet just to a more comfortable position so you can get your balance. So squeezing those hips together, getting a really solid base here. Reaching our hands up, we're not going to clasp them this time, pinky fingers spin in, finding that length, so let your hips really drop down here. Find the length, and then on exhale, just come into a small bend. So if someone was grabbing your hands and lifting them away. Then keeping that length, we're going to come forward into that 45 degrees, hands to heart center, twisting to the right, hooking our left elbow. Like we're spinning around the center point of our body. And keeping our balance by keeping a nice strong base. So pushing out to our left heel. And we're going to do our transition into our twisted chair here. So you can take as many hops as you want. If you want to try and test your balance, you're going to look down, look at your right big toe, let your weight shift onto that foot, and then just hop your left foot forward into our chair. Sending your hips down. Taking a couple of breaths here, won't be here much longer. And then exhale to forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, placing your hands onto the mat, stepping back into your plank. Really pushing the ground away. If you've dropped your knees the last couple of times, maybe keeping your knees up for this last one. Inhale, shoulders over your wrists. Exhale, slowly lowering all the way down to the mat. Unducking your toes, and we're just going to go into that Sphinx pose again. So your hands are at 11 o'clock. You should be just about able to touch your elbows. It's coming into our Sphinx. If you need to create more space from your back, just opening your legs slightly. And then pushing into the ground with your hands, just coming into a slightly bigger back bend. Taking one more breath here. Exhale, lowering all the way back down to the mat. Hands underneath your shoulders, pushing back to your downward facing dog. Then inhale, look to the front of your mat, and then exhale, step into the front of your mat into your forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to sweep your arms all the way up to standing. And exhale, bringing your hands through the heart center. Can't see. We're going to shift our weight into our left foot. So we're picking up our right foot, right knee in line with our hips. Still squeezing those legs in. And you can flex or point your foot as long as you're being active through your feet here. Bringing your right hand to your hip, left hand to the outside of your knee. Find the stability there. And then on exhale, keeping that spine nice and long, twisting out to the right hand side. And you think about your knees, if they could squeeze together, squeeze them. Allow you to create more space and more stability, and then you can rise that right hand behind you. Finding a nice openness through the chest. Taking one more breath here, then exhale to forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift, and exhale, stepping back into our child's pose, bringing our knees nice and wide, toes come together to touch, sinking your hips down towards your feet. And still keeping a length through your spine. And then if you want, just picking up your gaze, we're going to walk both hands over to the left hand side, then resettle. So lifting your pelvis away from your body, pushing your right hip down towards the mat as your right hand reaches away from it. And your next inhale, just picking that up and walking your hands over to the right hand side, dropping that left hip down. Just moving our spine in a lateral direction. One more breath here. And then exhale, walking your hands back through the center, and then just walking your hands back up, just so you're sitting on your legs. And then just scooting your legs out so they're both in front. Bringing our right foot just to the inside of our left foot. So you don't have to bring it to any kind of height, just wherever's comfortable for you. And if it is quite uncomfortable to have your knee lifted, just pop a block underneath it. We're going to make sure our torso is directly over our left leg here. Really grinding those sit bones into the earth. As we grind our sit bones, it gives our body this lightness to lift up. Bringing your hands up either side side of your ears. Fingertips are going to spin in and treating your hips as if they were a hinge, just starting to hinge over that left leg, as if someone was pulling your hands forward. Just keeping that lovely length. And then dropping your hands to the ground if you can. And if you feel like you lose that length, you're welcome to pick your hands up. Again, just imagining someone's grabbing your wrist, pulling them forward, and then placing your hands onto the mat. And just bringing your gaze wherever is comfortable. You don't need to lift your head up here. You can have your head so you're looking at your knee. I'm sure you've all got lovely knees to look at. And so grounding down through your right hip here. So you're getting a nice stretch also in the bottom right corner of your back. So this shouldn't be a restorative pose. You should be nice and active here. Take one more breath here, and exhale, walking it back up. And then we're just going to place our block just to the outside of our left calf muscle here. We're going to bring our right hand to that block, left hand just beside our left hip, and we're just going to do a slight twist here. So we're almost pushing the block into your left calf. So you're going to have your hand on the side of the block here. So we're getting a nice stretch in the back of our right shoulder. One more breath, and exhale. Just doing a slight counter twist, so that's just twisting out towards the right. And swapping up, so right leg's going to come in front, left foot's going to be tucked in here. Grounding down through the sit bones, find that nice lightness in your torso, reaching your hands overhead, stretching out of your shoulders, tummy up, and then exhale, just like a hinge, folding forward, so keeping that length with you. So you reach forward, and then you're welcome to bring your hands down to the mat once you find that lovely long spine. And bringing your gaze wherever is comfortable. And still just keeping that breath with you if you feel that you need it to help you get through these last postures. Be sending your breath to the back of your right leg here, or to the bottom left corner of your back. Keeping those sit bones really heavy to allow you to sink down. And then your next inhale, slowly walking your hands back up, and then just bringing your block again to the outside, and then placing your palm onto that block. If your block needs to be up really high, if you could do that, that's absolutely fine. Just for me, it goes just where my calf is. So placing your hands to the outside of the block, right hand on your hip, twisting out to the right hand side, then just placing your right hand out behind you. So a bit more restrictive with this, as you want to keep both hips really solid on the earth. Remember, twisting from your sternum, not from your right shoulder. Using that resistance against your left leg. Taking one more breath, and exhale to come through the center, just removing that block. And then bringing your legs nice and wide into a straddle. So you should bring it wide enough that your feet can kind of drop out to the side. And then so in that last pose, we kept our spine really, really straight. We're going to completely not do that. We're going to make our spine really, really relaxed now. So just sitting up kind of nice and tall, and then you're going to bring your chin into your chest, and then you're going to almost push your sternum back into the back of your ribs. Let your back become really curved here. Really extending through it, and then slowly, if you want to even grab your block, just coming to fold into this. So letting the weight of your head and your shoulders pull you down towards the mat.
So in a back bend, we need to be really strong through our back in order to flex it backwards. And in this nice restorative pose, we're just letting all the muscles in the back relax as we extend the spine forwards. And if you want to place your hands just in the back of your head, just for that little bit of extra resistance, you can. The focus in this pose is not how close you're getting to the ground, it's on how much you can send your hips away from your head and let your back just really melt down. Just letting your breath just start to return to its natural rhythm here. And in your next inhale, just slowly going through the same process that we did before. So bringing your body back up and starting to lift through the tummy, roll your shoulders back,
and then lift your head up. We're going to come down onto our back, just having your book or your block handy, and coming to lie flat on the mat with your feet within tickling distance. Just going to inhale, lift the hips up, and then exhale, bring our block underneath our hips. And you'll find there's just a nice flat ridge that you can kind of set that on, so just kind of the top of your bum, very bottom of your spine. And then bringing your hands just to spin towards the sky either side. Your block is there as an extension almost of the earth. So just as if you were lying flat on the earth, you let the body lie really heavy. So just let your body lie really heavy on your book or your block here. And if you want to just go for a final little small back bend just in the lower back, or if you want to find some openness in your hips, just start to walk the feet out and your feet will flop out to the side. Again, let your hips get really heavy here. If you extended your legs, just bringing your feet back through the center just for a couple of breaths in your supported bridge. And then pushing your feet into the mat just to lift your hips slightly so you can move the block, but keeping your hips up. And then we're going to slowly, working from our shoulders, slowly uncurl all the way down to the mat. With your hips landing on the mat last. And then just walking your feet out, letting your knees knock in, just coming to reset that. And just doing a little bit more hip work, just going to come into a happy baby. So bringing your soles of your feet up towards the ceiling, your knees are going to come in towards your shoulders. Now you can grab just behind your thighs, or you can grab the inner or outer seams of your feet. We haven't done too much hip work, it's just whatever's comfortable for you. So I spoke before about your happy baby is like the three corners of a triangle, and you want to send those three corners away from each other, so your tailbone and your two knees are the corners. This idea of knees are moving away from the tailbone and they're moving away from each other. Pushing our lower back into the mat. And just slowly releasing that down. Placing both feet onto the mat.
And then we're just going to come into a supine twist here. So just crossing your legs just as if you were at a table. So your right leg is going to come over your left leg, moving your hips slightly over to the right hand side, and then dropping your knees over to the left. So just taking whatever tiny movements you need to make in order to get yourself into a pose in which you can feel a nice opening to the small of your back. And then just bringing your hands to rest wherever's comfortable for you. And you can gaze straight up, or you can let your gaze drop to the right. Again, if you come into a pose and it's not for you, you're welcome to just adjust it. Just doing a couple more twists just with our spine here. The more we move it, the more we allow it to become more supple. Taking one more breath here. Then exhale, using your core, bringing your knees back through the center, and then uncrossing, then bringing your left knee over your right, hips over to the left, dropping over to the right. Just bringing out your spine a couple of final times. Allowing your body to release. If you want to start to close down your eyes or soften your gaze, you're welcome to. Taking one more breath here, and inhaling through the center, and then just walking your feet out so they're flat on the mat. And then just bringing your feet over to the left hand side, so they'll probably come off your mat. So we're going to create a C shape with our body. So walking your feet over to the left, you start to feel a stretch in your right hip, and then just crossing your right ankle over your left ankle. Reaching your hands up overhead, and then doing the same with the other side. So reach your hands over to the left, and then just grabbing your right wrist, or even you're just somewhere on your right arm with your left hand. So we're stretching all along the right side body. So again, just taking whatever movements you need to, just so you can really feel that all along the right side body. Keep focusing on sending that right hip flat to the mat, right shoulder flat to the mat. And then once you find that position, just let your body melt down. So get a nice stretch in our quad and our hip and our side body and our right shoulder here. While letting our spine move laterally. Keeping that breath all along your right side body. Taking one more breath here, and then exhale to unhook your right ankle, and then just walking your feet over to the right hand side, creating that C shape on the right side. So bringing your as much over so you can feel the stretch in your left side, and then crossing that left ankle over the right, and then again grabbing that left wrist or left forearm, but still allowing your shoulder and your left hip to really grind down into the mat. So your body becomes like a banana. Allowing that breath to run up and down your left side body. Knowing that you can exhale out a sigh at any moment just to let yourself really relax. One more breath here. And exhale to uncurl your legs. Bringing them back down to the mat and then just bringing your hands wherever is comfortable. And then taking any final fidgets and coming into your Shavasana, so your final rest. Letting everything melt into the mat, imagining that there's a heavy weight on your body. Knowing that for these next couple of moments, there's no pressure, there's no expectation of you. You can just lie here in stillness and relax.